Put my phone on silent for that shit.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the First Responders Podcast. I'm Cameron Hay at Cameron_Hay on Twitter. I have Drew Williams here with me at DopeIsDrew on Twitter and Taylor Ford at MyForte on Twitter. The usual suspects, nothing new, nothing exciting going on because of this quarantine day, whatever it is, of this pandemic that we're in the middle of. Nothing appears to be coming close to being back to normal. We are the only constant, it seems, in all of this podcast continuing. But how's everybody been doing in this time? Like, is anything changing now? We're in about 4 weeks into this? Maybe a month.
I'm in week 5.
Yeah, like 5 weeks into this. Like, how are you guys holding up?
Man, I'm ready to go back out, but we're definitely nowhere near where we need to be. But I'm not an expert on it. But man, I'm definitely getting cabin fever.
How about you, Tay?
Bro, I think like about 2 weeks ago, I finally came to peace with everything, and I mean, obviously, this ain't how I want to be moving, but it just is what it is at this point.
Yeah, like this is the new normal for us for the foreseeable future, probably. Like, there's no telling when everything is going to go back to how it was before this, but this is where we're at with it. We've discussed on previous episode these songwriter and producer battles that have been going on, and one of the battles that people have been clamoring for was Babyface versus Teddy Riley, and it got agreed upon, but Teddy Riley wanted to do it through some service or whatever where people could pay to witness it, and so that kind of caused it to crumble beneath him and Babyface for a minute. But Swizz Beatz and Timbaland were able to get them to come to an understanding or talk Teddy Riley into just doing it on Instagram Live like everybody else has been doing for free. And so last night, the battle was supposed to go down. Everything was set up. Teddy Riley was there. Babyface was there. It looked like this was finally happening. Two of the most iconic songwriters in R&B history were about to play their hit records that they've either written or performed themselves. And of course, old people and technology do not mix. That is pretty much what happened. We got 3 songs out of each guy over the course of pretty much 2 hours because of sound quality and audio issues, which were, let's just be honest about it, they were caused by Teddy Riley. He had too many streams. He had his Instagram live stream with Babyface going on at the same time. He had a stream to his online website where he was trying to have the performance at, on top of having live band with him, like the microphone, drummers. He had his own keyboard, everything. Like,
what are you doing, bro?
Like, he kept on blaming Babyface for it.
Yeah, he kept trying to blame Babyface for it. And so it was like, bro, have you watched? He clearly had not watched any of the battles that had happened beforehand.
Bro, put your MacBook right next to your phone. Just have your shit in a playlist.
Or if you just want to go, like, exactly, like in like other guys have gone to studio. Even T-Pain sang live a little bit, but you only need to have one stream. Yeah. You only need to have the Instagram live stream. And so Teddy Riley just was like the epitome of doing too much last night. Caused the battle to fall apart. We got 3 songs out of it. Supposedly they're going to do it again. They're going to try to do it again. But are you guys excited to see it again after what happened last night, or are you over it?
Nah, they can keep
it.
I'm
super good on that, bro. Like, the biggest enemy for black men over the age of 60 is technology.
Like, I just don't get why this was so hard. Like, all Teddy Riley. First of all, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Why do you have all of these people in one place? Like you're already breaking the law as it is. You're already. This is what happens when you don't follow directions. Right. He was being extra, and it came back to bite him one way or another. Like, he had background dancers, drum set, everything. Like, what are you doing, bro? Just sit in your studio like everybody else has been doing. Everybody else sat in the studio or somewhere in their house.
In their basement,
exactly. And just play your music. Like, I just did not understand what he was going for. I mean, I get it. You're a performer.
Trying to show you young whippersnappers how it's really done with real musicians.
Yeah, like pretty much. He wanted to be a showman, but this ain't the time or the place for it. And it caused just a shit show last night. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, it's a damn shame too, because both of these guys, Babyface is probably the greatest, I would say, songwriter in R&B history. Maybe like
he's up there.
He's up there for sure.
He's up there.
Yeah. So
Rushmore of it.
What'd you say?
Sure. I say he's on the Mount Rushmore songwriting for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. And then Teddy Riley is high up there as well. Like, it's not, people weren't asking for this battle for no reason. Like, Teddy Riley has more than enough to hold his own against a guy like Babyface. I don't know if he could win per se, but he has enough timeless and hit records himself to where the battle made sense. And so it's a shame that it came down to what it came down to. And I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to share the same sentiments as you two. Like, they're kind of over it. Like, they had over 400,000 viewers in the live last night before any songs were even started to be played. Like,
and did that bullshit.
Exactly.
Bro. Like just mucked everything up.
Like, just horrible. And so I'm not gonna lie, I will probably tune in next whenever they do reschedule it, whenever they do want to do it again. I will tune in just out of respect for both guys. And I love R&B music. But I don't blame anybody who isn't exactly excited to tune into this battle again. Like, I don't blame you two at all.
Yeah.
But
well, outside of that, like what music have y'all been keeping up with this week?
What have I been listening to? Really, I've been listening to. Not gonna lie, I've been abusing Tootsie Slide. Like, I've been listening to that like nonstop. I've also been listening to Purple Rain. Got added to. I already had Purple Rain in my iTunes just off of downloads, but once it got added to Apple Music, I went back and I re-downloaded it from Apple Music. Been listening to that a lot, and they added news or something onto it. Like, so I think that's a big deal. Like, I'm happy that song not only is finally on streaming platforms, but it has a proper home at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I'm happy that it has a proper home. And I think Purple Rain is one of Future's most underrated bodies of work. Like, I think it got caught in a bad spot.
Right at the end of the trilogy.
And it got caught after DS2. Like,
and What a Time to Be Alive.
Yeah, like, it came after all of that. Like, he was on a 5-project run from Monster through What a Time to Be Alive. And I think Future fatigue kind of started to settle in a little bit in January of 2016 when Purple Rain dropped. And I think it kind of got forgotten about, but I think that it's one of his better projects since he's been on this reinvention or evolution that he went on from 2014 to now. I enjoy Purple Rain a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy you say it too, because that was really like the first. I mean, I had liked Future's music here and there prior to that, but that's like really when like the light switch flipped for me. Yeah, I'm like bordering a stand now.
Yeah,
but like he really needed like a mask off type of single to carry that and keep up that steam going into that project. But it's a phenomenal project to me though.
Yeah, I love Purple Rain. Like, I think Perky's Calling, Purple Rain, the song, the original version of Salute. That's
Inside the Mattress.
Yeah, Inside the Mattress, Dripping.
All Right.
Like, it's a lot of good songs on here.
Definitely.
No Charge, Run Up. Like, it's really not any bad songs on this project for me personally. I enjoyed it a lot when it came out. I enjoy it a lot now still. And like I said, I'm happy News or Something is on there. News or Something, from what I've seen a lot on just from social media and talking to people that I know that really like Future, that's one of his higher regarded songs, like News or Something. And so, like I said, to finally not just be on streaming platforms, but to have a home, I think that's a big deal. But that's really what I've been listening to for like the past week or so, is like really been listening to that. What else? Like I said, Tootsie Slide, 56 Nights. I think since our last episode as well got added onto streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So I went back and did that as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And a lot of Blue Bucks Clan, but that's really what I've been listening to. What have you been listening to, Drew?
Man, I've been running all the Drake leaks, obviously, Vital, Roland, Plug. I went back to After Hours, running that a lot. Man, I know we're not gonna ever review this guy because he's falling off a cliff, but I just want to go on record. That DaBaby album was awful.
Yeah, his new album. I haven't listened to it.
I couldn't. I was like having trouble finishing it. I'm like, bro, like even though he dropped 2 albums last year, they both had like a couple tracks. I'm like, all right.
Kirk was bad too,
but it had a couple tracks on it.
It had that song that he had the Jabberwockies in the video and everything, and that was a hit.
Bob.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that was a hit.
Bob.
Yeah.
But like this shit was irredeemable. And he had like big time features like Future and like
Meg and Ashanti.
Yeah, like he
backlist didn't hold up to the product at all.
But what's crazy to me is like remember it had to be earlier when we started doing the podcast. We talked about how Lil Baby had an argument for being the best rapper of the year last year. He had 2 albums.
You talking about DaBaby?
Yeah, DaBaby.
Yeah, he had an argument for being the hottest rapper last year.
Yeah, like he had all these hit singles, features. Like he had a great argument, and then we're here at 2020, and it kind of made me think like, is DaBaby like only a product of like nobody dropped last year, or
it's a combination?
People are coming back, and the music just everybody's kind of tired of that, repetitive flow.
He's projected to sell 150 first week, though. It's going to debut number 1. So
I guess the people still like it. The quality, in my opinion, went down.
Oh, I think that he has women, and when you have women behind you, you're gonna survive. Like they're the biggest consumers of music, pretty much. They basically control what's hot and what's not. Like men can say whatever they want about music or anything, but anything in general, to be honest with you, women are the tastemakers. If they think something is hot, it's gonna be hot and it's gonna stick. Like
but Kim, I know we're not outside right now, and obviously like Twitter can be misleading as far as like what niggas like actually like fuck with when it comes to music, but I really don't be seeing nobody. I haven't seen nobody give any positive reviews towards this project at all.
No, and there aren't any. The night it dropped, it got completely swallowed up by Division's album. Nobody on my timeline was talking about DaBaby's album, and like you said, everything that I've seen about DaBaby's album has been overwhelmingly negative. Like I haven't seen anything positive about the album yet, but his fan base or the people who are listening to his music are, I would assume it has to be a lot of teenagers. A lot of teenagers probably listen to his music. Like we said, a lot of women listen to his music. So those are 2 demographics that can carry you far, to be honest with you. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us don't follow many DaBaby fans or people that are like flat out stans of his. And I know none of us follow any teenagers, like kids or anything like that on Twitter and social media. So there probably is a corner of people that think that the album is good or that are enjoying it. We're just not seeing them. And so that's a big thing. I think the second week drop off for this album is going to be like astronomical though. Like as far as sales, like he's doing 150 this week. I think I'm willing to bet money there's at least a 60% drop off in sales in week 2. Like I think
pretty big, but
I don't think this is.
I probably agree that around that range.
60 is about normally what the drop off is for most people. Like just because you're not going to have that initial first week push, people aren't going to rush to buy the album.
It depends on how you move, man. If you move like the weekend and you
his shit had a huge drop off.
But he had a huge first week too, though. Yeah. But he had a huge second week too. If you got legs, you can keep it carrying.
His second week fell by 50% though.
Yeah, but I mean, if your first week is 400 plus,
But I'm saying if his is
shit to shoot the numbers.
Yeah,
weekend has. But if DaBaby goes from 140 and a 60% drop off, you looking at a huge decline. Like
Yeah, 65.
he'll be off the charts completely by week 4.
Yeah. I mean,
Bro.
we're projecting, but
Yeah, I'm saying if that were to happen. But
you brought up how a lot of teens are probably the part of the main demographic for people listening to this project. I'm really sitting here thinking like I know y'all 25. I'm about to be 25 in July. Are we like a year away from being old heads? When it comes to like
not yet.
We're in a sweet spot. I think we're probably in the sweet spot.
We can like the young guys still.
Yeah.
And we can we can like Hove and like all the OGs and all that. But we can like the young, new rappers too.
Not even like Hove, like the guys we grew up on that like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Drake,
even
Future.
them. But I'm saying like as far as Hove, like we're old enough to appreciate that.
Our voice is gonna be irrelevant soon though. And as far as like not irrelevant, but like we aren't gonna be the people that dictate.
Of course, man. We're gonna go, to the club and we'll be like, I don't like music, but it's not our demographic.
Yeah, like we're gonna get to a point, and probably like I think Tate makes a good point. Not this year, but probably once we get to like 28, something like that, you start to get to the point where like you're getting to that point where the music might not necessarily be geared towards you, towards your ear. Like we're not gonna be the ones to tell these 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds that the people that they think is the best in the world or the best making the best music. We can't tell them that they're wrong per se because we're not the target audience. I think we're probably getting closer to that than we might want to admit because not too long ago we were the group that were dictating.
Wait. Are you telling me that in the year 2023 we're gonna be dead end hip hop?
I was literally just about to say it.
We're gonna be dead end hip hop in 2023.
I'm not gonna be dead end hip hop.
Bro, are you?
And Drew gonna be Mike C-Town.
Yeah, Drew is definitely gonna be Mike C-Town. Like, I'm always probably gonna be open to listening to the younger guys just because I'm always interested to see who's next, what's coming next, who's gonna hold the torch eventually. Like I think we've talked about it on here before. The Uzi, Roddy Ricch, Lil Baby, Gunna, those are the guys that are positioning themselves as being like the next guys, the next wave. And in hip hop, more than probably any other genre, it goes fast. Like guys typically don't stay on top for a long time. Like there are probably 10 new rappers that come onto the scene every year. And out of those 10, maybe 1 or 2 each year is able to sustain. And so, and by sustain, I mean have long, fruitful careers, really. So it's just gonna be interesting to see, like, as time passes, what becomes of the genre. Because as like we said, we talked about it on here before plenty of times. Kendrick Lamar, Drake, J. Cole, Future, these guys can't rap forever, contrary to what we might think and believe, because we've heard them rap basically since we were 14, 15 years old, and we're in our mid-20s now. But everything comes to an end at some point. Like, everybody's run stops. Jay-Z, as long as he's lasted, his run ended a long time ago as being like the guy who he turned into a legacy act. Yeah. And eventually that's what we're going to see happen to the guys who became the superstars of our generation. And once they become more so legacy acts and they aren't really competing for or in the race for being the best rapper alive or the hottest rapper alive, it's just going to be interesting to see who takes that torch and runs with it going forward. Who is going to be the person that hopefully can continue to progress and push hip hop further. My bad, but can take hip hop further than where it is already. But as far as new music goes that we've been listening to or anything, Division did just drop an album. We just referenced it a moment ago. Same night as DaBaby's album. We given DaBaby's album more shine than I thought we were going to give it on this podcast today. But Division has dropped in their third album.
Yeah.
Is their third album. their debut album September 5th came out in 2016. Their second album, what was the name of their second album? The Morning After. The Morning After, I want to say it came out in 2017. And then now Amuse and Her Feelings, their third studio album, has released. First of all, before we jump into the album, how do you guys feel about Division as a group so far? How have you felt about them coming into this album before this project? How did you feel about them?
I enjoyed the debut album September 15th a lot, especially Too Deep is like one of my favorite R&B songs of probably the last 4 or 5 years. But the Morning After I didn't like as much, but I really like that they're like one of the very few outlets where you can get like traditional like 90s style R&B, like begging for women, like very like deep production and like serenading, like ballads. They give you all of the traditional R&B. They're not rapping on here, man.
It's just ballad.
Yeah, like they're not like Chiller and Tory, and I love them, but like
no, it's real R&B.
It's real R&B. So I've been high, and I was very excited, for this album to drop when it happened. What
about you?
I would say it was kind of like a mixed bag going into this project. I remember you first put me on to Division when their debut album dropped. I think that was like maybe like 2016.
2016.
I really enjoyed that. Yep. So I really enjoyed that. That wasn't a project I saw myself turning back to frequently as years went by. And then I was kind of lukewarm on the sophomore album as well. And it was really just like his tone doesn't like necessarily draw me into a track. So I think that's really what like kind of turned me off. Like it's more or less like background music for me. Like it's nothing wrong with it, but it's easy for me to tune out.
Yeah.
But it might just be because like my ears are conditioned now to like, know what R&B sounds like now.
No, that's a good point. Like once you become so used to something, it's kind of hard to go back and make an adjustment. My first introduction to Division was
Faithful.
No, my first introduction to them was on OVO Sound Radio. The same night Drake dropped Summer 16. The night he played The Line and Too Deep. Both of those records, he played them both. They played them in the the little playlist that they used to play during the episode
before they
play new music.
Yeah.
So Division, The Line, and Too Deep were both played on there, and I was like, "Yo, who is?" I'm thinking it's like a '90s like R&B artist that I just had never heard of or something. Like maybe it's like maybe it's like an old D'Angelo record or some shit. Like I'm like, "Yo, what is like?" I've never heard this song before. So come to find out, it's the new artist that they signed, new group. At the time, I thought it was just a singer. I didn't realize 1985 was a part of the group, the OVO in-house producer.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that was my introduction to them. And then, like you said, after that, we heard them on Faithful, on Views.
Pimp Shit.
And then they dropped their debut album September 5th, which I think is a really good debut album for an R&B group. And so at that point, I was not invested, but I was interested in the group. I thought their debut album was good. The Morning After didn't do much for me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really care for The Morning After. It just didn't have anything that stuck with me after the initial listen. I remember, I think the night I listened to the album when it first came out, it was hard for me to get through it just because, like, for lack of better words, it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
So, like you said, Drew, coming into this album, this third one, I didn't know what to expect. It was like, I knew we had heard the song. They dropped No Crying with Future a few months ago, and I liked that a lot. I liked it a lot. Then they dropped the song with Snow Allegra, In Between Us, which is really good as well. Building anticipation, but like these are singles. Like it sounds good.
I think that Future track is probably old too. I think that was recorded during the summer season. Not got
No. That's a very new. It's new. It just got recorded during like the past year. They brought Brian Michael Cox in to help write the record and everything.
Really?
Yeah, he's got writing credits on it. He's got writing credits on the album and everything too. Like he helped with his album.
Okay.
Like, yeah, like that's a newer record. That's a newer record for sure. Like they made a big deal about it on Instagram when they first dropped it, when they dropped the video with the song as well back a couple months ago about how they were thanking him for coming on board to help with the song and then the project as well.
Got the legend to come out.
Yeah, they got him to come help.
Get his pen dirty.
Exactly. He helped with the project. And I don't know if that is why I like this album so much or if he plays a role in it, but I think that there is something here on this album that, in my opinion, that they hadn't had in the first two. I like this album a lot. Like, I think this album is really good.
It's probably the best album from top to bottom.
It's their best album.
And I enjoyed the first one, but like mainly because like the tracks that I do like, I like a lot.
Yeah.
But then there are some tracks that I don't really care for. On here, I feel like even the tracks I don't care for, and it may be recency bias, even the tracks I don't care for as much, they're good tracks, I feel, you know? He shot a good field goal.
Yeah, I think they did really good on here. Tay, how do you feel about this album as a whole?
Overall, it was solid. I could tell. So I've listened to it like 4 or 5 times straight through. I ended up hitting Mario after like the second time because I was like, no, bro, like, I'm not trying to go into this like review Sunday and just sound like I'm bashing the album. Because I knew y'all two were probably gonna feel strongly about it. I revisited it and starting to like warm up to me slowly, especially after about track 6. But like when I first like started the first 3 tracks, I'm not gonna lie, like it was kind of like with the morning after, like there was nothing that necessarily like grabbed my attention. Like I ended up playing 2K and forgot that it went from like track 1 to 2 to 3.
I like the intro to this album. The first 2 tracks really won me over and had me excited, to be honest with you. I think I had the opposite reaction. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was something about those first 2 songs. Like Friends is the second song with Party Next Door. Like, I don't know. It was like they both just immediately grabbed me and made me really interested to hear the rest of the project.
Well, I think it kind of piggybacks off my fault, Che, but it kind of piggybacks off of how much, you know, we enjoyed the Party Next Door album, and then he's on here, and it just goes to show, you know, OVO they'd been away for, you know, really last year and the year before. Did anybody drop other than Drake?
Roy Woods didn't drop last year. I don't think Magic. I think it's been like since like 2018 or 17.
Pretty much the entire label been laying low, and now they're plopping out these products. And we know a Drake tape or album, we know
this year
we're getting. You know, at some point we're gonna get that. So we have 3 projects to look for. Well, 3 projects in total in 2020.
And we're probably gonna get something from Magic Jordan and Roy Woods as well this year, if I had to guess.
Yeah, so you know they're shelling out everything.
But what were you about to say, Tay?
Yeah. So on the second track, like Party grabbed my attention, but Division, like he was just there to me.
You didn't think
like was
Daniel Delaney? That's the singer's name. You don't think he added anything to the song per se?
Not at all. And then it got to Courtside, and bro, what the hell? It was like some corny ass line he kept on saying there. It might have been the bridge, and like it was like on some Weird Al Yankovic type shit.
What part of Courtside was? It sounded like a Weird Al Yankovic song.
Bro, come on, hold on. Don't make me pull up this damn song lyrics.
I want to hear what the lyric is that gave you Weird Al vibes on this song. Courtside, one of my favorite songs on the project. I think Jessie Reyez sounded really good on this song. Like her vocals, I think she added a different layer. Like, and just to have her vocals sound really rough compared to Division, the singers. It sounds like he's like really smooth, like like angelic kind of like deliveries and voice, and then her vocals are a lot rougher, a little bit more distorted, and I think it just gives a good contrast, and I think it worked really well on this song.
There, that's what it was. Cause she ain't there for games unless they're courtside.
What
That like
Weirdy
bro,
Al Yankovic?
yeah, you want me after we get off the podcast, go listen to Weird Al Yankovic's remix to "Trapped in the Closet," and I swear to God, you gonna hear where I'm coming from with this shit. Like that was on some
She's
toying with me like Happy Meal.
that's a bad Drake bar, but the courtside, she's not here for games unless they courtside. That makes perfect sense. Like she not playing unless like the only game she here for is if I'm courtside at an NBA game or something. Like I think that line makes sense, bro. I think you being hard on him for that one, bro. I'll be honest with you. I think you're being unnecessarily hard on them for that hook.
Bro.
But
We're
gonna get to the part where I think the album hits its sweet spot. Is track 7 through 12. Honestly, if we be honest, from No Crying through the end of this album, I don't think they missed on any of those last 10 songs. To be honest with you, but I think the real sweet spot of this album is from Dangerous City through Greedy, and I think they the transitions from each of those songs into the next was really, really, really good. Yeah. Really well produced album. Especially that middle portion. I think that middle portion of the album, they just really went to another level. The Buju Banton and Popcorn features, I think they work really well. Keep It Going is by far my favorite song on the album. I think that's the best song on the album. Jordan Ullman from Magic Jordan, he sings the hook and he does production on the track as well. And I will say this about Magic Jordan and Jordan Ullman to be specific. I'm not a huge fan of Magic Jordan's music themselves as a group. Like I haven't like really found myself loving any of their own individual music, but I do appreciate what Jordan Ullman is able to provide to other OVO artists' projects and their sounds. Like he helped produce on Feel No Ways on Views. Yeah. They have the Summer's Over interlude on Views. Now he's here on this song. I'm pretty sure it's something else I'm like forgetting off the top of my head. But I feel like every time he pops up to help lend his voice or production ability to other OVO artists, it's like stronger parts of each of those projects for me personally. So I will say that about him. He clearly has talent and an ear for being able to make good records. And it kind of makes me want to jump back into maybe some Magic Jordan music to see if there's anything I've been missing or something that there's been a disconnect that hopefully I can potentially like find myself bridging the gap. But yeah, the best, well, not the best. My favorite songs on here for sure are, we already talked about No Crying. But Outlandish, Keep It Going, Flawless, For Us, and Again. Those are probably my 5 favorite songs out of the songs that we hadn't heard before the project. Those are probably the ones that I can see myself listening to throughout the rest of this year and for beyond that. What about you, Tay?
For me, like around like that same spot in the album, that's like when it starts to turn for me as far as like how much I like appreciate the album. And I think eventually this will probably grow on me even stronger. Right now, I probably say Dangerous City. I'm a big Ty Dolla $ign fan, so I was one I liked a lot. Outlandish as well. I forgot what was the name of the Summer Walker track. Was it Flawless?
That's Flawless. That's a song with Summer Walker.
Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good track as well. But honestly, through track 7 through about say 13, 12, I thought those were all really strong tracks. The only thing like I wish that they had on this album was like a too deep level type of single. Like I think there's like consistently like solid music, but nothing was like head and shoulders above the other to me. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, but you liking that same portion that I like, that middle portion. Like I've come to realize, like with you, like you like the sound of like that house or Caribbean sound in music, like, and that's where they kind of hit that like sweet spot, kind of in that middle portion, like Dangerous City, So What, like those type of songs. Like, so it doesn't surprise me that that part of the album is like your favorite part or the sweet spot for you as well. Drew, what are your favorite tracks off of here?
Funny, I mean, I talked about how I don't really dislike anything on the album, but I don't really have a sweet spot. I just have favorite tracks, and they're really all over the album. I really like we talked about Courtside with Jesse Reyes. Obviously, the Future track, No Crying. But Outlandish is my favorite track probably, and Amuse I love, and again, the very strong.
But
Amuse, man, I think that might climb slowly but surely because I've come onto it like later, and it's really getting a lot of play for me lately.
Yeah, that the Again record to close the album out. That's a very strong close to the album for me personally. And just I think they've made. I don't know if they're doing this intentionally. If they do this intentionally, but like September 5th ended with The Line.
Yeah.
Like they end. I can't remember what the last track. I haven't listened to The Morning After in so long, so I can't remember how it ended. But for two of their three albums, they ended with these very like powerful ballad records.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's intentional by them or not, but I like how they do that. Like The Line and like we both agree on Again. Those are two really, really strong and powerful records, and I like how they've ended both projects with those. So how are we feeling about the album as a whole? Is it pass or fail? Is it good? Like, how do you guys feel about it? Is it something you think you'll find yourself coming back to as the year goes on, or what?
I'm definitely gonna keep probably at least 13 or 14 tracks from it for now, and then we'll see how many are there at the end of the year. But as of right now, you know, if I had to guess, I'd probably say I'll at least have 10 in the rotation at the end of the year, I think.
So it's successful. If you get 10 out of 16, that's a success.
Yeah.
How about you, Tay?
I'll say I'm still to be decided right now. Still filling out the album. I said that 8-track stretch for sure. But this album's probably gonna be one that's going to grow on me.
Yeah,
to be honest.
For me, I think I'm clearly like the biggest fan of this project. Like, I love this album. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love this album a lot. Like, I don't have for 16 songs. There's not one song that I don't like on here. To be honest with you, I like all 16 tracks. Some like that stretch in the middle, from the middle to the end, specifically. Like, I love this album. I think that it is really good. It's by far, in my opinion, their best project. It's the best album that they've made to date. You can tell they really kind of went for it. Like they're trying to like really break through and become more than just a niche like group or artist. They're trying to actually become viable stars in the R&B space. And it's a shame that we're in this pandemic and everything, like, so we can't see how this album might potentially perform out in the world and how the rest of the world will view it. We can really only go off of what we see on social media.
Right. And
so it'll be interesting to see where they go from this, because I think it's clear as day with the features. They've never had features like this on an album before. For him to go get Future, Summer Walker, to have a guy like Brian Michael Cox come in and help write on this album, to get Ty Dolla $ign on here, like Party Next Door, Snow Allegra. She's one of like the up and coming like female R&B stars, like with Summer Walker as well. They really went for it. They went for it. They tried to like really make a big album, and I think they succeeded. And that brings me to another question for you guys. Is Canada running music right now to start the year off? Like we're about to be done with the first quarter of the year.
They've probably, between Drake dropping the Lucy's and all that, and then
After
Tusi
Hours.
Slides, obviously After Hours, PND.
2. Tory Lanez dropped a project,
Tory
his top 2
Lanez.
debut on the Billboard chart. Like,
So Canada probably is leading the charge right now.
like,
Yeah. Every other region been kind of quiet.
yeah.
Or you might get one artist dropping something.
Like, from Atlanta, I can't think. Is it anybody besides
Baby,
Lil Baby that's dropping?
Uzi from Philly.
He from Philly, yeah. But like, so these are kind of like, it hasn't been a whole lot from anybody else. Like Tay said, it's been quiet.
Uzi's got Atlanta,
Yeah,
Philly.
but it's like we've been like, it seems like every other week, Canadian artists are dropping and like kind of dictating the conversation of music so far this year, which is wild to really think about because before, like, I would say guys like Tory Lanez, Party Next Door, they're stars, but they aren't like mega stars. They're kind of like mid-level guys, pretty much.
Yeah.
But to see that people below Drake and The Weeknd are being able to drop projects and basically, I think that Tory Lanez got the only project that's come out of Canada this year that I don't like so far. Like I've like, and I'm like a huge Tory fan, but I was just underwhelmed with the new Toronto 3 mixtape or album, whatever it was. But Party Next Door's album, I enjoyed a lot. We've all, well, not we've all, me and Drew love After Hours. Think that it's a great album. The Drake Lucy's Tusi Slide, whatever, he's been holding people's attention, and now Division dropping an album, which from my timeline, I don't know what you guys' timelines look like. It's basically receiving unanimous acclaim, like universal acclaim, pretty much on my timeline. Everybody seems to be really enjoying this album. So it's just wild to see how Canada, how far it's come in really only 10 years. Like,
yeah,
like it went from really nobody. Cardinal Official was the only
people
person.
will wonder how they were going to push a Canadian like Drake, and obviously you had Canadian acts like you go back to like R&B like Celine Dion or whatever, but
in like black spaces, like
yeah,
they hadn't.
How many Canadians were like running R&B,
And now they've since Drake's debut, like you fast forward 10, 11 years now, and it's been that's 5 viable acts this year, like Drake, The Weeknd, Party Next Door, Tory Lanez, Division, like that are dropping projects or songs that are holding America's attention. Like it's just wild to see the progression of that country and how seriously people are taking their artists and their acts. I wonder. It just made me wonder what the future has in store for him, because we haven't even talked about a guy like Nav. He hasn't dropped anything yet this year, but like even him, like the fact that The Weeknd can have someone on his label, The Weeknd's become that big of a star to where somebody like Nav can exist and become a star on his own right, pretty much. Like that speaks to how big The Weeknd has become. But
I've talked to Mario about this. Do y'all think? And I know Tory does rap, but I think people have just as much appreciation for his rapping as they do his singing. Do y'all think it's possible for a newer Toronto rapper to break while Drake is Drake?
Yeah. I think Tory. I just don't think Tory is going about it the right way. I think Tory hurt himself a lot early on. The beefing with Drake, going back and forth with him. I don't think, if you're asking me, do I think it's going to be somebody that can break from Toronto or Canada that can be as big as Drake? No, I don't think.
But A-list rapper.
I think it's possible because the Weeknd happened in R&B and he became an A-list like pop R&B act. So I think it's possible for a rapper if the right rapper comes along. I just don't think Tory Lanez is the right rapper. As much as I like Tory doesn't have his own distinct sound, like consistently, in my opinion. And that was kind of
and I wasn't even speaking to him necessarily, but like when you look through all of OVO's roster, Drake is the only rapper.
Yeah, but I think that with the Night Owl sound, the way that they like brand themselves, I think it is more so geared towards R&B. I just don't think that that's a rap label. I don't think, and I don't think Drake maybe at some point he'll want to do this. He might have spoken on this before, and I might just be going blank. But I would think at some point he would want to find a successor. Like you kind of want to have a guy or a woman, whoever it might be, but somebody who you can pass the torch to, and this is the person they're gonna be next up. Like Jay-Z kind of inadvertently found it with Kanye West. I don't think that was intentional. He like if you really think about it, he was really positioning Memphis Bleak as to be that guy.
Yeah.
And it ended up being Kanye. It just happens like that sometimes. Wayne was able to find it with Drake and Nicki Minaj to an extent. Even if you want to say somebody like Dr. Dre finding Eminem or Snoop Dogg, Snoop and Eminem or whoever, and then also Eminem and Dr. Dre finding 50 Cent, 50 Cent finding The Game or whatever. Like these
whole finding Cole.
Yeah, whole Jay-Z getting J. Cole pretty much. Like you kind of want to have a successor under you, and I'm pretty sure Drake would. If it would be even sweeter if it can be somebody that's from Canada, just because of how much it would mean for the city, or the country, Toronto, the city. But that's a good question though, Tay. I just don't know like where there is.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know who it is or where the guy is going to come from or the person's going to come from.
Yeah, and like even if I was like trying to pick hairs, like with the like people you mentioned, like with I mean, if you want to say Dre, like he's a producer, so I don't think people necessarily look at him in that same light.
That's fair.
Or like with Eminem, while M was still, you probably still argue like that biggest rapper in the world, obviously because the racial differences and demographic differences, like him and 50, I think that's an easier slide. Who else you said?
I said Kanye.
Kanye, even Kanye and Jay. A lot of people, and we've spoken about this before. Ye was really Dame's guy.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was accidental. It was inadvertent.
Yeah, and Hov, I can't say he fucked up, but like while he was in his run trying to position Bleak, but like everything Bleak did was like measured up to Hov, which is an impossible task for anybody to do, especially when your big brother is saying he's going to be the new and improved Jay-Z.
Yeah, he's
trying to break you.
He put impossible standard on Memphis Bleak that was just not possible for him to reach. It's just not possible. Like if Drake found somebody tomorrow and he said, "Yo, this is the new and improved version," like this is the next meet, that person's guaranteed to fail. It's not possible. I think like Wayne was telling people that Drake was going to be huge, and he was saying, "I want him to be as big as me." He wasn't running around saying.
But he did tell people "Thank Me Later" was going to sell more than Carter 3.
He said he wanted to sell more than Carter 3 this week. And Thank Me Later didn't even sell half of what the Carter 3 sold. Now, 445 out the gate for your first album is incredible, but
set the bar really high.
Like, but that ain't a million. So even Drake fell short of like you can't put that type of pressure on somebody out the gate. You can't do it. Like it's an impossible standard for a rookie or somebody going through this for the first time to reach. Like Jay-Z was the best rapper in the world, or at least seen as one of the best rappers in the world at the time where he was running around saying Memphis Bleak was the new and improved version of him. Like when you hear that, you thinking, damn, he got the best rap. If Jay-Z is this good, is Memphis Bleak the best ever? Is this like gonna be the guy who's like the best rapper ever? Like that's an unfair pedestal to put somebody on. Like you gotta let them just grow into whatever they're gonna become on their own. And I think maybe Jay-Z found that out with J. Cole, or maybe he just didn't have the personal relationship with J. Cole that he has with Memphis Bleak. He doesn't, because Memphis Bleak is like his brother pretty much. So he's not gonna put that title on him. But him taking kind of a hands-off approach kind of with J. Cole, in my opinion, it allowed J. Cole, even with the cosign, to still grow into his own artist and become this huge superstar that he's become. I think that helped J. Cole, because I think if Jay-Z would have come out saying the same shit about J. Cole, potentially, it might have soured some people. It just makes unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
That you just can't live up to. Like, so, but back to your original question, I'm pretty sure Drake it's possible that somebody from Canada could be as big as him not as big as him, but be a superstar as a rapper. I just don't think it's happened yet.
While he's on his run.
Yeah, I think it's possible for a star like to rise from Toronto or from Canada somewhere, while Drake is still the biggest thing in the world. I think it's possible. I just
happen in the next couple of years.
I think that person needs to have their own distinct. You have to come with something fresh and have your own distinct sound. You can't come in and basically be and sound like Drake, or sound like anybody that we've heard already for the most part. You have to come into the game and provide something fresh and new that we just haven't heard before and make us want to keep hearing from you. And this why. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
So let me ask you this then. So you know how Drake is the perfect blend of technical rapping skill, star power, and the melodic shit he does with R&B. I think one thing that Nets rapper would need to do, like you're saying, be a strong contrast to Drake. A lot of people don't realize. I know they look at Canadians as just being these friendly people, but shit ain't sweet in Toronto at all.
No, it's not.
So, and Tory kind of talk about that shit and some of his music. And I know you and I will both watch rap battles, and this is one battle rapper named Franchise from there.
Yeah.
I think whoever at Net Star would break, it would have to be not necessarily drill music, but in that pocket as far as content.
Yeah, I think that would help 100%. I think everything you just said. I think that the fact that Tory is a rapper singer type of person, and he's from the city and everything. I think that as talented as he is, I think that kind of works against him to an extent, because it's you're following the same exact footsteps as the guy who's the biggest guy to ever come out of there, even if it's inadvertent by Tory. It's hard to break out from under his shadow when you're kind of in the same mold as him. So yeah, I agree with you. Whoever it is that's next, it might need to be somebody who's a little more rough around the edges, who just isn't in the same lane at all, and just is their own entity. Because if a person is going to come behind him and be a star while he's in the middle of his run, I don't think that it can be in the same vein as Drake. So if that answers your question.
Yeah.
But that'll conclude this week's episode of the First Responders Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. Be sure to follow us at RNC Radio Live on Twitter and Instagram for all of our podcasts, all of our content, a bunch of cool and different stuff coming for you guys every week from us. Be sure to tune into RSPN over the next couple of weeks. They will be doing live recaps every Sunday night, I believe, after Jordan's The Last Dance documentary that runs on ESPN. So be sure to tune into that, and just follow us on Twitter, like I said, and Instagram, so stay up to date on all of our content coming forward. Once again, thank you. We're out.